This is a video on knowledge dynamics. 2 years ago I did an outline for a book on knowledge dynamics, and I haven't gotten around to writing it yet, but maybe in a couple of years I will if I live that long. Basically, the way knowledge ideas interact with each other and flow is the same in almost all fields. And there was a wonderful book on this by Abbott, the former head of the American Sociology Association, called Chaos of Disciplines, where in 100 years of sociology he traced the flow of ideas and the dynamics about how they flow in that field. And immediately when you read his book, you see that, wow, in physics they flow the same way, and wow, in geology they flow the same way, and wow, in software they flow in the same way. And you saw that if you knew these knowledge dynamics, it would have a great effect on how you operate and how you succeed in these fields. So here are 5 of the basic dynamics. There are other books. John Grinnell's Political Philosophy and Time, over a period of 1,000 years, looked at similar dynamics. Hegel looked at similar dynamics across the history of European thought. Joseph Campbell and Claude Lévi-Strauss in the flow of mythic elements among peoples and within a people across time. So there are lots of places where you can verify these dynamics in totally different knowledge domains. But here are the 5 dynamics you can find in all those domains. And there are a lot more than 5, but I just thought 5 is small enough to fit into YouTube. Here we go. Number 1, winner ideas embed loser ideas as parts of themselves rather than throwing out entirely loser ideas. Number 2, later generation thinkers overthrow established thinkers in their field by going and using unattended to poles of polarities in their field and saying, hey, you established guys, you don't consider and don't realize this has value. Number 3, ideas develop in a spiral fashion so that each pole of a polarity gets visited by one generation and then the opposite pole by the next generation and then back to that pole by that generation and back. And they're doing this in a circle around 5 or 6 polarities in a field. So field ideas develop in a spiral manner. The meaning of a theory or an idea is the idea it overthrows and not its own contents. And so looked at historically, each idea is a worthless piece of exaggerated baggage. But when you look at what it overthrew, you see its value. So behaviorism looks like a tyrannical bunch of diluted crap until you realize the evil of the idea in eugenics that it overthrew. And then you realize that how progressive behaviorism as a movement of ideas was as a way to overthrow eugenics as a dominant set of ideas. And then cognitivism, when you realize how tyrannical and narrow behaviorism was. Cognitivism was a very constructive liberation of psychology from the dictatorial tendencies of behaviorism at Harvard University and Skinner. And then connectivism was a great way to bring the brain back, which was thrown out by cognitivism, which had turned everybody into a little computer. And so the value of all of these genres of ideas in psychology is the evil of the genre they overthrew and not the value of the ideas themselves. The ideas themselves look silly. I mean, cognitivism is this stupid short-term memory, long-term memory processor crap, which people are still publishing this junk in 2012, but it was interesting maybe in 1950 when Chomsky brought it up, but it's certainly not interesting now. And then home run ideas come from third-tier institutions because second-tier institutions are all consumed with wanting to improve their rank to first tier. So they're 100% monkey and no human beings in them. Places like Carnegie Mellon. And then first-tier institutions are arrogant enough that they are willing to sometimes tolerate weird, take a chance on weird people and ideas simply because they're at the top. But basically, top-tier institutions are money grubbers. And they ask everybody every day, 15 times a day, to give them money, because that's how faculty keep their jobs, by bringing in grants. And so publishing is not enough to be at Harvard or MIT. You have to bring in grants all the time. And so you spend your entire life grubbing for money. Whereas in Tier 2 institutions, your entire life is grubbing to publish silly little papers in silly journals that no one can stay awake reading. Therefore, home run ideas come from third-tier institutions, where you lack this pressure to publish petty crap that isn't worth anything, and you lack this pressure to get grants for no purpose.